Coach, your first Bayou Classic.
Oh, wow. It's going to be fun. This is a tremendous event. I'm learning more and more about it every day. My players have told me what to expect. It's been more than I could ever imagine, but it's going to be fun.
Let's talk about your first season. Totally new experience for you. How's it been?
You know, it's been, like you said, it's been a first season of learning, to be very honest with you. But I'm excited about where we're headed and what we're doing. We played a lot of young players, Roland, so I'm excited about what we can become in the future. But now I know the conference, have a pretty good idea of exactly what's here, and we need to recruit to it.
One of the things that has been really interesting is just the level of attention that HBCUs, SWAC in particular, has gotten, fan interest. Obviously, Deion being in the conference, you coming to the conference. And so talk about that as well, because, you know, the excitement and energy is really important for any program.
Oh, absolutely. And let's be very honest, Deion has really opened the door for what he's done in Jackson State. And I commend him. The guy went undefeated, and he's done some tremendous things there. He's really brought the focus back to the HBCUs. Obviously, Eddie George, myself, Coach Simmons, there's a lot of really good coaches in this conference, and we should bring the eyes back here because there's some tremendous football being played.
But the thing that I keep telling people that is that on the field is one thing, but at the end of the day, you also got to drive it off the field. And so one thing that you've also done has driven a lot more social engagement with videos and photos as well to highlight the program, because this generation, that's where they're getting their information from.
You know, you just said it, Roland, and we have a brand, but we got to continue to build it, you know, and there's no question that G is symbolic across the world, but at the same time, we need to take it to another level, and I think everybody's got to understand that in this day and age of technology and people being able to see exactly what we're trying to do in real time, you should capitalize on that.
Resources are also important, so being able to connect with corporations, brands, that's important. The whole NIL thing as well. And so talk about that, what you've been able to also impress upon the university as taking that brand and really saying, okay, we have to actually monetize it and leverage it as best as we can.
You said it, Roland, we have to. And we got to do a better job of doing that, just being very honest with you everywhere, because I don't think we're really getting the best bang for our buck. You know, at the end of the day, we're still not being paid what's really rightfully ours. And so it's time to take the gloves off and roll up our sleeves and go to work and get what we all deserve. But I think it needs to be a conference thing. I think the conference has to understand that we can't be the little sisters anymore. We should ask for what's right and expect what's right and then go get what's right.
One of the things that Deion talked a lot about, these classics, and a lot of people really didn't understand the few home games that you actually have. And so that's a huge thing about building your base, being able to have people come back to the campus, having them tailgate, having them experience or relive those days at Grambling. Talk about that moving forward. Are you trying to make sure that you're having more home games actually at home, so you have a home field advantage?
You just said it, Roland. And me and Dr. Scott have talked about that at length, and I'm sure I will speak with President Gallo about it, but we need to be at home a little bit more. When you have 3 games at home, but our first 6 were on the road. I mean, I've never heard of that. But at the same time, that's the schedule that was there. We can do better. We will do better. We need our fans to be seeing our football team a lot more in Grambling than they have. So we're going to make that adjustment.
All right, so let's look at next year or two. What's your primary focus?
Oh, man, getting this team better, building our brand even stronger, making sure that we capture the resources that I think it takes in order to be a big-time football program.
All right, Coach, always good to see you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
The new GMC Sierra, premium and capable. That's professional grade.
right, we're here for another year of the Bayou Classic. So, so last year you were barely in the seat.
Yes.
All right, so talk about this year. You had a whole year under your belt.
Yeah. So a little bit of a change. Obviously, last year when we spoke, we were going through a coaching change. I tell a story all the time. It was after this event where Coach Jackson and I really had our first opportunity to interview. So, just from there to now, I think it's been a great turnaround in terms of the leadership and where we are team-wise. Now, that hadn't necessarily been reflected in wins and losses, but obviously with football, you have a little bit more of a process where you have to build and gain. And so, so far so good for Coach Jackson in his first year. For me, just in totality in terms of the athletic department, obviously, there's been a bit of a struggle, push and pull with some of the decisions that I made. But, I'm going to stand on them at all times. I think they were the right decisions, whether we hired or fired or did whatever we did. I think, we have to take ownership and understand that we make decisions that are in the best interest of not only the athletics department, but the institution as well.
Obviously, when we talk about athletics, it takes money.
Absolutely.
To run departments. And so what has been your focus with your personnel to get them to understand that how things are done in the past cannot be how things are done in the future?
Absolutely. So the number one quote, my pet peeve that burns me up is the way it was always done, right? And having been employed now at two sister institutions is something that is not necessarily reflective of the institution. Sometimes it's reflective of some of the personnel. And so when you come in with a new philosophy, obviously there's a new culture. We talk about culture almost like a cruise ship, right? You talk about the Titanic. Well, what happened with the Titanic? It hit an iceberg, but it didn't hit the part that it saw. It hit the part that it didn't see, right? So you're going so fast, you've got to slow down and turn the boat. So that's culture. And so that process in and of itself has been one that we've really been intentional about changing and altering. Also while keeping, like I said, the right people on the boat and understanding that as we move forward, we have to take hold to this process and be intentional about it moving forward to get us further faster.
Coach Jackson talked about the G, if you will, and that is a symbol that is known across the country and the world. But how do you also redefine that in the 21st century for the folks who know nothing about Eddie Robinson, know nothing about what Grambling used to be?
Well, here's your issue. You've got a legacy of a man who spent 56 years of his life building and branding that iconic G that we see on helmets, on polos, and on other memorabilia. You also have this new generation of NIL and cost of attendance and social media and immediate gratification. Where our challenge is to make sure, of course, that we can kind of blend both generations. I don't think we'll ever be in a space where we're so far gone with this new generation that we'll forget, the Eddie Robinsons, the Doug Williamses, the Shaq Harrises, the legends that have paved the way for the student athletes who come here. And listen, that's just football. I haven't even started to talk about Willis Reed, Shaquille Hill, right? And so this campus and this university is marred with tradition and athletics that transcends generations, but not just in football. But while we're here, I think it's our job to make sure that, of course, we do some of the things we do for this new generation, whether that be NIL, cost of attendance, last names on the back of jerseys, nutrition, mental health. Mental health is real. Right? And so we have a duty and a responsibility to make sure that we take care of our student athletes, that we promote them in their new spaces while of course, paying homage and giving great consideration and attention to our forefathers who came before us.
You also are operating now where there's more attention. I mean, look, post George Floyd, there's been a significant amount of attention that's been given towards HBCUs, different black organizations. How do you ensure that you continue to capitalize on that and then it doesn't wane?
You know what? Sometimes you find them and they find you, right? I think the most important thing is understanding how to leverage black-owned media, right? And understanding, how to, like you said, sustain that relationship. Black-owned media was around before George Floyd, right? Black-owned media didn't get their due prior to George Floyd, neither did HBCUs. So I think it's our responsibility in tandem to work together, for us to not just monetize our brand, but to be able to push our brand identity further, right? Obviously Grambling has an international brand. There's still people who think that Hey, is that Georgia? Hey, is that Green Bay? Not even close. They wish, right? And so, having the opportunity to form those relationships, Urban Edge Network is a prime example, and leveraging those relationships and understanding how to provide a substantive partnership and be able to deliver on what it is you seek to deliver, I think it's priceless. And I think we've got to do more of that moving forward.
All right, sounds good. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a bunch.
All righty.
All right.
The new GMC Sierra, premium and capable. That's professional grade.
All right, President. Well, first of all, you left the red jacket at home. Praise the Lord.
No, I wore it for breakfast this morning, and I wore it to the Southern Board of Supervisors meeting. So no, I don't travel without
here
the
we
red
go.
blazer.
Here we go.
Absolutely.
And it's a sliver red in the logo, but he gonna like it's the main color.
And I keep saying you got more red in your logo.
No. Say again. My high school, Jack Yates High School,
Yeah.
crimson and gold.
Got it.
And so this is paying homage to my school of communications. That's why, sir, we're recording right now. I'm sorry. We're recording right here. Yeah, just slide that way right there. So no, this is absolutely paying homage to my high school.
Okay,
so,
all right, okay.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
Got here Kappa, so
Yeah.
he see red get all excited.
Right.
Excited.
That's right.
But it's the black and gold. See, I know it's like.
And I knew you'd like this tie too, because they say it's getting kind of close to old. Is that old gold?
Black and old gold. Yes.
Old gold.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah. So a nuke can make any color look.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
Here we go.
there we
But
go.
Al, we wear everybody's colors because everybody followed us.
That's right. It was first. That's right.
Let's talk about this here. Another big year. You had some changes since last year.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackson, now the head coach.
Yeah.
Just talk about the last 365 days.
Look, I tell you what, it's been a real busy year. And of course, it seems like just yesterday we were here last year. But look, my hat goes off to these guys sitting behind us. They've really worked hard this year. New coach, we got a lot of young players. Look, we're just excited to be here, excited for these guys because they've really put a lot of hard work in, and looking forward to the game tomorrow.
Well, one of the things that I have, I've been focusing, obviously, on my show, we've seen this, that is this renewed focus or commitment, if you will, to HBCUs. You look at what happened. You got the folks at Tennessee State legislators questioning them, like where are these students coming from? And they're choosing to come to our school.
Right.
We're seeing other HBCUs are seeing a dramatic increase in enrollment. Or what has it been like for you at Grambling?
Yeah, look, even during the pandemic, we continue to see our enrollment rising. So we're very grateful that we are the educational destination of choice. So yeah, I've watched some of the footage of the exchange between President Glover, who I think did a phenomenal job. And I know it's always.
Look, they're fining North Carolina A&T $2 million for exceeding the cap when the other schools are declining.
Right. That's right. You would think they would encourage that,
Right.
but I will say here in Louisiana, Governor John Bel Edwards has been an incredible supporter of our HBCUs, and so we're certainly thankful that we're not in that kind of environment. And so as we continue to see, our enrollment continue to grow, new program in cybersecurity, in cloud computing. We're the first and only school in the state of Louisiana to offer a bachelor's degree in those two programs. We have a digital library. We're the first one in this state. We'll be the first HBCU with a digital library. These are all things that really provide us the opportunity to show current students and future students that we're going to be on the cutting edge of technology. Growth is going to always be a part of what we're doing, and not growth for the sake of growth, but smart growth. And so we're in a really good spot right now, and I'm very grateful for it. But it all starts with our students.
One of the things that as a part of that, and that I've always emphasized, is that also getting alumni to understand that it's great for them to wear the shirts and the hats, but they got to send checks back.
Yeah.
They got to be making deposits into the university.
Roland, when I was preparing to interview for this job a little over 6 years ago, and I went back and looked at all the checks I had written to Grambling over the previous 10 years, it was $250,000 that I had given to the university, not thinking that I would, one day be the president. And so when I was appointed, I presented a $20,000 check to our foundation because my message to the alums was, I won't ask you to do anything that I'm not willing to do first myself. And so lead by example. So, my wife and I continue to give to the university. And look, all we can do is try and encourage. I mean, you look at the great work that these students are doing, not just the ones behind us. Over at the Weston, we have students competing in the Biz Tech Challenge. That has been a contest that's been going on since 2016, where our students develop real life solutions to real life problems. And our team this year has a carbon monoxide detector that they have developed. And in Louisiana, that's known for hurricanes, for power outages, and people dying from carbon monoxide. This is a solution to a real problem. And so our students are innovators, and we just have to give them the opportunity to show how amazing they are. And when we do, they show us that they are truly amazing.
I'm actually doing some stuff this year with General Motors, and what we're seeing a number of corporations. Again, I keep talking about this post George Floyd moment, placing the resources and looking where to place them. And so a number of HBCUs have been benefiting from corporate donations, from corporations recognizing the value of HBCU students, where for too long they were pretty much ignored.
Right. And, when we think about some of our partners, Sodexo Magic Johnson and Sodexo partnership as our food service, not only as our food service provider, but also as a major contributor to scholarships and other things. Coca-Cola, we've been in partnership with Coke for over 90 years. And so to think about the longevity of these types of contracts and how they continue to enhance the level of investment in our university. IBM is another one that has really stepped up. So we certainly have seen a shift and a growth in the number of companies that are interested in investing, and we're certainly grateful for that.
Last question, and that is obviously athletics is not just about football. You got other programs as well, and so what is your message to your alumni base going forward about Grambling athletics beyond football?
Sure, and I always say, when I was a student at Grambling back in the 80s, when I put the world famed Tiger Marching Band uniform on, I was living my best life at the time, okay? But once I graduated and moved on, I was no longer trying to relive my college experience. And so now it's important for those of us that have gone out, got this great education, and we're now able to give back. It's time to give back. And so we see, again, a lot more of our alums doing that. One of our alums, Perry Jones, who's with Diageo, they're a new sponsor to Bayou Classic this year, $250,000 sponsor. So we've got alums who are in very key roles at many corporations, and they are leveraging their position to have their companies to invest and buy in. So we're really excited about where we are, but obviously we still have a lot more to do.
All right, sounds good. All right, I appreciate it.
Okay, man.
All right, good luck.
Appreciate it.
Thanks a bunch.
All right.
The new GMC Sierra, premium and capable. That's professional grade.
This is a new thing for you.
Yeah.
This experience. Talk about it.
Well, first of all, New Orleans is one of my favorite cities, even before I came to Louisiana. But the passion of these two fan bases and the party they want to have here is pretty incredible.
Absolutely. Of course, when it comes to classes, the granddaddy of them all. And walk through the last year has been for you leading the university, and then now, of course, culminating end of the year with this.
So I took on the role as president of the system and chancellor of the campus in July. So it hasn't even been a year.
There you go.
Okay. So the first few months is just learning and walking around, meeting people, figuring out the stuff that's important to learn, and connecting with the culture of the institution. And then, over the next few months, trying to put a plan together that moves the institution forward.
And on that particular point, I mean, what we are seeing is we're seeing a lot of attention, a lot of focus, obviously, on HBCUs from philanthropic organizations, from corporate organizations as well. But what is your message to Southern about how they have to be operating moving forward? Because there are a lot of places that say, hey, this is the Southern way, this is the Grambling way, but there's also a new way to operate towards moving in the future.
Well, you have to be realistic. I mean, you can't throw off the culture and act like it's irrelevant.
Right.
At the same time, I'm going to sort of say, what are the challenges that are in front of us? A lot of it's revenue streams.
Yep.
Okay? And so we have to be attentive to diversifying our revenue stream. Now, the good news, as you've mentioned, is that we're at an inflection point where there probably hasn't been as much interest at the federal level and in business and industry in supporting HBCUs. So we got to get in front of them and execute. I mean, we just had a board meeting this morning, and I think we announced almost $3.5 million worth of gifts to the various campuses in our system. Mm-hmm. We need to double that annually. So that's the challenge. And we shouldn't think about it as being contrary to our culture.
Right.
I mean, if you look around, one of the reasons why this is going on is that the alumni of these HBCUs from the last 30 years have been tremendously successful, and they're in key positions in government and in business and industry, and they're waiting for us to call on them.
Right. In fact, I was talking to a brother the other day who's a significant person in media, and he said, I graduated from HBCU. He said, and they haven't approached me. And he was like, I'm not understanding why they haven't.
And that's the challenge. So my role is to do that. But everybody down 2 or 3 levels into the organization has to understand that's part of their role. You can't be the dean of a college and just think, I'm going to deal with what's on in the college. Right. Because if you're the dean of business, all these companies want access to this talent and want to support. So you got to be outwardly facing to engage them.
Right. But what is what's the one thing that you were most surprised taking over? That stood out.
Well, the one thing that's most surprising, I'm not going to talk about. That just get me into trouble. All right. I would say, I've been in higher education for 40 years, and I've worked at places like Duke and Michigan, and I'm an Iowa guy, so I'm the University of Iowa. The passion that the folks have for their institutions, these HBCUs, is like on steroids as opposed to those places. And I think I kind of expected that, but until you sort of are immersed in it, you don't realize what that's like. So that's probably been the biggest surprise.
One of the things that conversations that I've had with a lot of different people is that when they talk about how do you now redefine and change the focus. Oftentimes when you see these stories being done, when you see the focus being done, in really mainstream media, so much of the attention is on bands, is on Greek life, and others say, well, that's not solely what the universities are all about. And so part of it also is, when you talk about establishing what the brand is saying it goes beyond just those 2 facets. Those are important, but that's not what the institution is solely made of.
So what's the institution? What should we about? Well, for me, it's the outcomes for students. Every student that comes in the door has a reason to expect that they'll be well educated and complete their degree. So that's number one. That student experience, I think is central to the HBCU mission, right? Number 2, we have to be stewards of place. where our institutions are located, we can't act like what's going on around us is not relevant to what we do. So we have to find ways to help the towns, neighborhoods, cities, states where we're located thrive and find ways to do that. And it won't be the same for every institution, but that's critical. The third thing is we have stakeholders, and we have to be attentive to them because particularly as public institutions, we've always thought it was the state's obligation. Well, for better or worse, that support is not where it was at one time. And in the case of public HBCUs, it's lagged what it should have been for decades.
From the beginning.
So we can sit there and worry about that, or we can say, hey, there are other places that we can go to sustain ourselves. It's like any good business. You don't depend on your support to come from one stream, because if that stream goes away,
that's it.
You're lost. So we have to expand that.
Yep.
So that's part of what we have to do.
All right. Well, look, certainly good luck.
Okay.
And I appreciate it. And I look forward to your first Bayou Classic.
Okay.
All right. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep.
The new GMC Sierra, premium and capable. That's professional grade.
So let's talk sports, but let's talk about the university. There's been so many things, so much attention in the last really 2 or 3 years on HBCUs in this conference with new coaches, Coach Jackson, Deion Sanders coming in. Talk about just the amount of attention, the amount of enthusiasm that is really you see increase in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it's been an awakening. I think that the HBCUs have found a rightful place, and I would say still growing to find our rightful place. And I think when you bring the attention of a game like the Bayou Classic, a game of Jackson and Southern, a game of Grambling and Alcorn, you know, when you see a lot of people in I think we're just getting the visibility where people are like, wow, that's what go on. And then I think with the transformation of everything that's going on in the country, that we've been able to make a rightful space and have our own heritage, right? About the bands and what we do on game day has made it very interesting and appealing to the day's audience.
Well, also I think that one of the things I've always said is also having to embrace new technology, social media, because this generation, if you want to actually reach them, that's where you got to go.
And you could say that social media has helped HBCUs because now the platform is everywhere, and people of all colors have been able to see what we're doing from a social media platform, right? And we have been able to reach players that possibly wouldn't have been able to reach. And I will say that I think that the type of coaches and the character of coaches and the style of coaches that each institution is investing in now, right? We're not quite there getting salary where we can attract some great coaches and some great personalities. And I think when you're able to do that, that's going to create visibility. That's going to help you reach another level of kid. And I think that as we continue to do that HBCUs, and particularly since I'm in the SWAC, that we see us going to another level. We're able to win games outside our league now.
How have you had to walk your staff through? I had a CEO who once said, the people that made me a $500 million a year corporation can't take me to $1 billion. And a part of this is a constant, no, we got to go next level, and not be happy, content with where we are.
Transformation. For me, is to be able to get your stakeholders to buy into the investment, right? And to want to and to understand what this investment means for the university. I often use the analogy as I've been playing sports all my life, and I chose a high school because they were winning. You choose a college because they're winning traditionally, and you see it. And I think that students around that choose schools because, hey, they get a lot of airtime. They come to a game, they enjoy it. The band pumping is a winning environment, and I think that helps you gain students, which in return, students help us gain revenue. And so I think that those dollars, no other dollars, and no more visitors that you're going to get on a game day at HBCU and on a big rivalry day.
Couple more questions. One, when we talk about new revenue streams. Streaming obviously critically important, but also now demanding fair share when it comes to your linear television deals as well. And so talk about that being important, because for so long our black institutions have gotten 20 cents on the dollar, as opposed to saying no, the eyeballs come, so we're worth actually more than what you're paying.
Yeah, can I take the point of privilege to congratulate our Commissioner McCullum for doing such a great job in that vision and pushing our TV screen to a whole nother level, right? Because we actually been playing games and not getting any revenue for it. Mm-hmm. And then when you look at the viewers, then our game have more viewership than the average game, even Power 5 game in some cases, right? And so you come here, you're going to get 70,000 people in the stands, and they show a game on TV that's got 15 or 20,000 fans. And so the sponsorship people want these numbers because that means dollars for them.
Right.
And so I think when you know that means dollars, then you can demand a higher demand from TV because of the product that they need. And we putting that product out there right now. Everybody talk about our conference, and then you start talking about Jackson State right now. And so obviously what Coach Prime has done with social media and everything has changed the game and have helped us to be more out in the open to everyone. And now people want to buy into what he's doing, and it helps all the other teams as well, all the other universities. And then that makes everybody have to go to another level. Mm-hmm. And so if we want to be a winner, all the athletic directors have to challenge their alums. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing that have to happen. Alums have to start buying in like they do at other schools. Mm-hmm. And you know what I mean by that, right? I mean, we able to say we lost a game of what we don't have, but it's going to take dollars to keep this thing going. Yeah. And so I think that's one of the things, because we have some of the largest alumni bases. I often say, just think if our HBCUs got $10 from each alumni, I'd say this to athletics, we wouldn't have a budget problem.
First of all, there's $10 period. Because the reality is, look, I've interviewed numerous alumni presidents on my show, and in many ways, the average giving is 5-6%.
Right.
But it's a lot more than 5-6% wearing hats, shirts, and paraphernalia.
Correct. And so I think that those other streams like that, and once we start doing that, we're able to put our gear into different retail stores and start getting just like those opportunities like other schools are getting. And so people say that almost like we're there, but we're not there yet. Mm-hmm. It's time for us to take advantage of being at this point. Right. And I think if we take advantage of where we're at this point and all the number of things that we talked about and put in a melting pot, I think we can go to a whole nother level. Because, I mean, you can't keep getting quality coaches like we're getting at average salaries either, right? Right. Because all you're going to do is get them for a couple of years and they're going to move on, right? Even if they're going to go be a coordinator somewhere. Right. And we have to understand is that it's a long-term investment, not short-term.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks so much.
The new GMC Sierra, premium and capable. That's professional grade.
Coach, normally I'm the one rocking the ass, Scott. So you decided to come out today in style.
Absolutely. This is just something I like doing. I'm not a tie guy, so I love the ascot.
I understand. Now, of course, and you all decked out at SWAC Media Day, so you've been keeping it going. So do you post your photos every week of your outfits?
I don't, but I have some guys. This is just me. Nothing that I look forward to doing, but some guys take pictures of it, and I guess they're posting it every week.
Okay, all right then. Let's talk about this game here. Last year was a thriller going down to the end. You guys came up short. You want some payback?
Well, unfortunately, I wasn't here, but I'm here now, and I'm the leader of the Jaguars, and I understand the magnitude of this game because I, too, played in this game at Grambling State under legendary Eddie Robinson, and then I had the opportunity my first 14 years to coach under Pete Richardson at Southern University, so I understand this magnitude of this game right here, and I look forward to it.
Of course, just a few moments ago, you had your team with their chant, and Grambling came back. So a lot of energy in this room.
Absolutely. Bayou Classic bring a lot of excitement. You got guys that live in the same household on different sides of the team. You got family members. So, you got husband and wife. So I do understand this here.
Absolutely. Talk about how this season has gone for your team in your first year.
Not all together like I wanted to because I look for a lot of consistency. But I thought, the team pulled it together when needed to be pulled together. But still some things we got to work on. I always like to tell the guys we got to scratch where it itch at. And what I mean by that, we got to correct those things to make us a better football team. But the guys work hard and understand what we're looking for.
Just share your thoughts on how things have gone with the amount of attention that is now being put on HBCUs. A lot more discussion, a lot more excitement. Obviously, the attention that Deion Sanders has brought to the conference as well. But as overall, when you look on social media, when you look at people just really talking about not the halftime performance, but the actual football performance.
Absolutely. I love it. This is what I pray for. I'll say that. The reason why I say that because I've been in this conference a long time, close to 30 years, 30 plus years to be exact. But I had opportunity to go to other places, to FBS schools. I chose not to because I saw this vision coming a long time ago, and I wanted to be a part of it.
And when you talk about that vision, where do you want it to be?
I wanted to be the best conference in all of college football. I believe that it has the brand. Back when I played, you had guys that got drafted in the first round. When you talk about an Eddie Robinson football team at that time, he had over 200 NFL players. So we knew it was an opportunity that you can do that from that school. But more importantly, just the community, just the family love, just understanding the things that you can get at a university like a Southern University as well as a Grambling State University. So I don't think it's no place like it.
And when you're out there now, when you're talking to players, are you seeing players who in the past might have said, "Nah, I'm not interested in a SWAC school," now saying, "You know what? I absolutely I want to consider and going to a Southern or one of the or HBCU."
The attention is great, but I have to say this here. Even back when I first started in the 90s, they had guys like that. I know taking guys from some major institutions that wanted to come. The publicity wasn't there. The coverage wasn't there.
Right.
So, of course, you didn't know of that taking place. But when you talk about a Pete Richardson football team, he has some football players.
Going forward, and that is obviously you're coaching for Southern, your first Bayou Classic. What do you want these players when their playing days are over? You played in it. What do you want them to remember about this game and putting on that blue and gold?
That it was special. Not many institutions of this magnitude get an opportunity to play on national television in a spotlight time like this here. So not only is it an interview for you to go to the next level, it's an interview in the job marketing because, so many individuals watch this here. I told them about the story of Sam George, who's our starting quarterback. By playing in the Bayou Classic, Jamie Foxx contacted one of our assistant coaches. There you have it. He played in that movie.
There you go. All right then.
All right.
Coach, good luck.
Appreciate it.